You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
I'm joined this week by Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, and thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
I am so excited to be here with you.
So tell me your districts.
So I represent the Michigan 14th District. It's 18 communities, all 5 of the Grosse Pointes. I have half of Detroit. I have Harper Woods. I have Hamtramck, and then Cross 8 Mile, Royal Oak Township, Oak Park, Southfield, Farmington Hills, West Bloomfield, Kegel Harbor, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, and Pontiac.
That is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of variation there, huh?
Yes, so much diversity.
Right. So, okay, so tell me, I guess the biggest question is what's been happening in Washington?
There's a lot happening. As you know, we have gone through an impeachment hearing, but there's been so many bills passed in the House and sent to the Senate. We have passed a bill on violence against women, on gun violence, of having mandatory background check, voting rights. We have passed bills and a budget. We passed our budget in appropriations. I'm a member of appropriations. And we passed that budget in June, and it went over to the Senate. And in a nonpartisan way, I can tell you the House is doing the work, and the bills are sitting in the Senate waiting for the leader, Mitch McConnell, to take them up. So we are trying to move the country forward. I want you to know that 2 big issues are transportation, infrastructure. We all know that in Michigan. Mm-hmm. There has been continuous efforts to sit down all the players from the House, the Senate, and the White House to come to an agreement so that we can move forward. Everyone says we need it, but there seems to be a challenge in us coming together to say how we're going to fund it. And then the other issue that is very important is our trade deal. Mm-hmm. And that is one that we are constantly working on and really close to coming together for a trade deal, which have a major impact on Michigan because of our manufacturing, our auto industry. So those things are extremely important. And for me in my district, education. Education is one of the greatest issues, and it is a saying that Elijah Cummings used a lot, and he's such a great man. We lost an amazing leader. He said, our children, it's the message that we send to a future that we'll never see. How we treat our children, what are we doing to educate them, to protect them?
I know that education and also poverty
Yes.
is a big issue for you.
So it's a horrible statistic, but we are one of the highest in poverty in the city of Detroit for a large city in the country. We're the lowest, the highest, and we must do more. We must do more with, because what creates poverty? Lack of jobs and lack of education. And so if we attack the ability, if we attack the hiring, and, we call it unconscious or unbiased prejudice in hiring, building skilled trades, that's a workforce that is crying for people.
And actually, Michigan has
Yes.
really stepped up
Yes.
to highlight the skilled trades here.
Yes.
So what do you think of that? Do you think that skilled trades could actually...
Skilled trades can actually address a lot of the poverty issues. But let me tell you something that's really important to me, too, and that's re-entering citizens. So those who committed a crime, did their time, come back. And we have had, historically, a policy of not hiring someone.
Check the box.
So if you don't hire them, they know how to be a criminal. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a way of providing for your family or there is so often recidivism. So now, amazingly, and I have to give our previous governor, who was a Republican, credit for this. He instituted skilled trade training in prison. If you were in prison and eligible for parole in a nonviolent crime, you were able to start training for welding, for truck driving, and other things that they could train you in. That was phenomenal, because these people who were in prison, who were eligible for parole, were getting job offers before they left prison.
So those are the vocational villages,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And there's actually
Yes.
quite a few of them now.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes.
so it's a statewide initiative
Yes.
that you strongly support.
Yes.
So okay, so education, poverty. Let's talk about water real quick.
Yes.
Okay, so the Flint water crisis
Yes.
has led to testing pretty much all over the United States, but especially here in Michigan.
Yes, and the governor and I sat down and talked about that. The fact that we're testing more aggressively now under her leadership, Governor Whitmer, she has proposed in her budget that we put in water filtration systems in these schools, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the schools get tested and the water is found to have too high level of lead. They just put a plastic bag over the drinking fountain. Why don't we be proactive and say in our budget we will put a water drinking system in the schools for the children, because that's who's hurt the most from lead poisoning, small children, because their brains are developing, and lead poisoning attacks the development of brain.
So that all goes back again
Yes.
to education and even
Yes.
poverty, right?
Yes.
So if those systems were put in, they would be put into certain schools that were built a long time ago, right?
Yes. Well, there was a period of time when in construction, lead pipes were the norm before we became educated and became aware of the health crisis. So you have all these older buildings that have lead pipes. And so let's be proactive instead of reactive. And let's start putting into these school systems water filtration. Because how often do children drink water during the day in a school?
Right. A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
And they should.
Right.
It's part of their development. They need it to live. Another thing I wanted to bring up with the poverty, we're going to have to look at affordable housing. And this is a national debate. You know, 4 days or 5 days a week, I'm in Washington, D.C., and I'm watching the affordability of housing. In Detroit, we're seeing the same thing. Housing is going to be a major issue with poverty. My goodness, I was in L.A. where every day around 5 o'clock, this whole big tent city opens up. Thousands of people without homes. And now they have this camper villages where people get campers and live in them, park them on the street and live in them and plug in to wherever they can. And so we cannot, every major urban city, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Washington, L.A., Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, every major city, there is a housing crisis that is just bubbling up, and we're watching it happen right in front of our eyes. It's not affordable.
Right. So it's not affordable, and that again just ties into everything that
Yes.
you fight for,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. And if you had one thing to say to your constituents, what would it be?
I would say to our constituents, please know that this is our country. We are a country with an amazing democracy, a constitution, and I will tell everyone to lean in, don't shut down, and don't feel like, oh, what's happening. We've had some tremendous challenges to our democracy, to our republic throughout history, and we've always, as a country, come together and found a way to keep true to one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll do it again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And again, we have been joined by Brenda Lawrence from the 14th Congressional District.
Thanks for watching this segment of The Splash. To watch the entire show or other segments, catch us on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. Or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us every week on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM.